My mother was horrified. Because no one in my family has done a business before, and we have this idea that businesses are too much of a risk. Friends and family were horrified. Everyone around me were horrified. There was a lot of discouraging comments about starting a business, especially a business that no one thought would actually yield something at the end of the day. And that I was told that I've wasted my foreign education by coming back and doing this.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Indian Startup Show. Today my guest is Dr. Tathagata Neogi, Tintin to his friends, the co-founder and CEO of Immersive Trails. They are building a dynamic marketplace connecting travelers with a world of authentic, expert-led experiences. In this exciting episode, we dive into the realities of bootstrapping a startup, the challenge of educating investors on a niche business model, and how Immersive Trails is organizing India's fragmented local guide market. He also shares powerful insights on building a high-trust team culture, leveraging AI, and navigating the startup ecosystem while managing a dissociative identity disorder, DID. We also talk about working with his wife, 19th century true crime and cemeteries in Calcutta, finding toilets and everything in between. So please enjoy the show. Thank you.
Hello, Tintin. Thank you for coming on the Indian Startup Show today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Please tell everyone what you're building.
I am building with my team a travel tech marketplace for India. It is a marketplace that basically declutters the travel landscape. Okay. We are actually choosing expert curators. So, for example, a historian curating a heritage tour, a chef curating a supper table. So these kind of experiences, we're bringing them together on a platform and letting Indians who travel and love to experience things to book them and learn from it.
When did you get this started and how are things going?
So after my PhD, I was doing PhD in archaeology in England, Exeter. Finished my PhD in 2017, moved back to Calcutta because that's what I wanted to do. Moved back to Calcutta with my wife, Chelsea. I started a walking tour company, which was a research-driven walking tour company of Calcutta. Gradually, after COVID, this evolved into Immersive Trails, which was then we started making network, find partners. We have been working on this since, and the marketplace actually launched in 2025, April.
Okay. Tell me about that first year then, when you started doing your walking tours. What was that like? What research did you do, etc.?
Yeah, so I've grown up in Calcutta. It was a known city. It was probably the safest place to start it from. But what I realized was that there has been a lack of understanding about the history of the city. There's a lot of hearsay, but not a lot that people actually can trust and learn. So there was a lot to learn for people. So we decided, my wife and I decided that we would do the research and then create it into a simple storytelling sort of walks so that people can learn, but also have an engaging sort of way to spend their weekends. When I left academia completely, my mother was horrified. Because no one in my family has done a business before, and we have this idea that businesses are too much of a risk. My mother was horrified. Everyone, my friends and family were horrified. Everyone around me were horrified. There was a lot of discouraging comments about starting a business, especially a business that no one thought would actually yield something at the end of the day. And that I was told that I've wasted my foreign education by coming back and doing this. The first walk actually was on, I remember the date, it was on 12th of February, 2017. And it was at South Park Street Cemetery, which is a colonial cemetery in Calcutta. And
a cemetery?
And it has very large and pretty graves and interesting stories around it.
Okay.
So I expected no one to turn up, but more than 30 people turned up for that. And that was the beginning. That was the start that we were looking for, and it only grew after that.
And you're bootstrapping this at the moment?
So it's obviously having no background in business. It was all learning on the job, and it's been difficult sometimes because we had to dip in our own savings. We had learned a lot of marketing skills ourselves because we could not afford to have a marketing agency or a marketing person on the team. But that's all fine. It's all part of the job. The biggest hurdle that we faced was actually finding a tech person to build the technology of the marketplace. But thankfully, in 2022, we met our tech co-founder, Soumyadeep. He has worked for several blue chip companies and built the tech. He's a coder. That's his natural instinct. So he codes very well, very quickly. And after he came on board, we actually started building faster. And then in 2020, like now it's just with him on board and some interns, it's growing very significantly. And we are actually looking to raise around now. So and hopefully we will be closing it in the next few months.
Talk about that journey of finance then, because obviously this is not like a traditional sort of startup in terms of the investors. Perhaps they may have not know this space at all. How are you finding pitching to various investors? And
thank you for the question, because it's actually fascinating how people react to pitch deck when you send it to them and then have a initial meeting and all of that. Because what they expect from as a travel technology marketplace is they expect something which will deal with like a booking.com, a hotel booking site, or a Make My Trip, which is an airline booking site. Or even if they have traveled well, they would know a Get Your Guide, which basically gives you a guide, but there is like quality control is a huge issue there. Or they would think that it's an Airbnb, but something that is fully focused on experiences and something that also controls the quality is difficult for people to understand. I mean, I get phone calls every now and then from investors asking for more information, and they think that we are an airline, like we will be incorporating airlines and hotels and all of those things. So we are not going to do that. We are focusing on experiences, and we are focusing on making these experiences, unique experiences, available to people, specifically people of India, because I think that the Indian market is underserved, and a lot of Indians are traveling within India who do not get access to these kind of tours.
Why specifically like a marketplace then?
Because we realized two things. First is that based on our presence and exposure to the market, there are a lot of curators who actually do very good work throughout India, but they're scattered. They do not or cannot afford to build a website for themselves. They cannot make themselves as visible as possible. There are issues regarding the booking, the way they take the booking. They have cash flow issues, because most of the times the bookings are taken through Instagram or WhatsApp message, and it's very difficult to locate them unless you really do the research. So we wanted to organize that market. We wanted to bring people who are really doing good work under one umbrella so that we can give them visibility. And one thing that we do not do in our marketplace is we do not white label. So every partner that we have has their brand visible or has themselves visible. We are doing that way. And then for the customer side, based on our market research and also research like of McKinsey and Skift, it basically shows that about 90% of post-COVID travel behavior in India, 90% of the travelers are actually looking for experience first travel. So they choose the experiences first, and then they decide to book the plane ticket and the hotel. We want to make them these experiences, which are led by experts, more visible, so that they can choose the right experience. So, for example, if you go on a general site and look up an experience of the Taj Mahal, you will probably see 150 listings. But how do you know who among these 150 people are actually experts who can actually give you in-depth knowledge of Taj Mahal? So we are helping them to trim their sort of work and do the quality control ourselves, so that travelers know that when they're booking it, they're getting a good experience.
What's the most popular experience then let's say I went to Calcutta.
Most popular experience is actually that sells the most on our platform is Murder and Mayhem. So it's about true crime in 19th century Calcutta, and it follows the trail of a serial killer in the city.
Right.
Like we talk about Victorian policing, the Victorian era crime scene, and this was before the forensic sciences. So how police used to catch the criminals and all of that. So that's very popular because Calcutta has an intellectual sort of connection with a lot of detectives, like fictional detective characters that have come up from the city. In terms of, if you say pan-India, then we have experiences like which looks at the Red Fort, but from the perspective of the Mughal women. So that's very popular. We have the experiences in Lucknow, which are food experiences, which are very popular as well. So yeah, this is just a few.
Okay, and obviously you started this in Calcutta. How have you scaled this then? If you can like break that down.
We started, we were probably the third company in Calcutta providing walking tours in the city. Most of the scaling happened in that phase through word of mouth. But now that we are present in more than 60 cities in India and have more than 600 experiences on the marketplace, we are scaling, like we have built this network over time since 2022 by personally connecting with all of the curators we have ultimately brought on. So this personal connection is very important because that builds a trust between it's not a faceless platform that you are meeting. You're meeting the founders. You are talking to them. And they're explaining to you how you benefit. They are asking questions. They're pushing back, and you give them answers. So that actually helped us to build the network on the supplier side. On the customer side, it still remains, I would say, about 30% word of mouth, and the rest of the expansion through running advertisements online and we have also plugged into the Indian marketplace, the government marketplace. So we are a supplier there. Our experiences are then shown to different platforms.
Well, let's talk about you and your background then. You mentioned a PhD in archaeology. Why archaeology?
I always loved history, but when I say always, maybe when I was in 6th standard, from then on, I loved history. I wanted to be a historian. I wanted to be an Egyptologist first, which is probably everyone's dream at one point in life. And then I really wanted to study history, understand the past. So I did my bachelor's after my high school in history, and then chose to go to England to study because I wanted to have broader perspective than just Indian archaeology. I wanted to study world archaeology and see India in the So that's how I did my master's in Exeter, and then I did my PhD in Exeter as well, and then came back to India. Yeah, but archaeology has been a passion throughout, and I am still pretty much connected with the network, like academic network archaeology. Yeah,
that's cool. What's like the weirdest thing you've actually dug up then?
Weirdest thing that I have dug up is, I would say, toilets. So, I mean, you know, in any archaeological site that has been inhabited for a long time, toilets are a common feature, but we don't talk about them. But they're like we were excavating in this site, which was our Indo-Roman trade site in southwest of coast of India in Kerala, and it's called Muziris. So we were excavating there, and I mean, you keep on digging, and you see that you keep smelling things, and you then start realizing that what you are actually excavating. So that's the weirdest example, and there are several locations of those.
If you could excavate on one site anywhere in the world, no budget, where would you go?
I would like to excavate a site called Berenike. So Berenike is in Egypt. It's on the Red Sea coast. The reason is that it has like the global trade passed through Berenike at one point in the Greco-Roman period. So early centuries, late centuries of the BC and early centuries of CE. And there was an Indian enclave. There was an enclave of the Persians. there were Greeks and Romans and people from all different types of religions that were present at that time was there. So such like the idea that globalization is something which is a new concept is not true. It existed in the past. Itself shows it in the big way. So I would like to go and excavate there.
I've been watching a lot of movies on this. Basically, they find some things that are cursed or unlucky and things like that. Is that just movie nonsense then?
I mean, it's mostly, I mean, if you look at Indiana Jones and stuff, it's mostly a lot of imagination and then a little bit of practice, like what happens.
It seems Calcutta's got an interesting past. If you could pick one historical figure from the past, if you could sit down and interview them, who would that be?
Calcutta's past is very interesting because there was a pre-colonial settlement, but it really starts blooming during the colonial period, during the British period. Most of its development happens during the British period, and it becomes the big city that it is. And so one person that I'm fascinated by is Dwarkanath Tagore, who is the grandfather of Rabindranath Tagore, who is the poet who is the poet laureate of India, basically. So he was a very successful entrepreneur, and he had businesses like throughout the eastern part of India, and he had business connections with the UK quite a lot, UK and also Italy and France quite a lot. And he actually was behind like the financier behind a lot of political upheavals that were happening at this time, a lot of social changes that were happening at this time. So without him being present, a lot of things wouldn't have happened. A lot of things wouldn't have had the funding for them to happen. And he also was probably the first one to introduce the idea of railways in India in the British minds, because the railways were successful in England. They were still iffy that whether they should bring it to India, whether Indians would use it. But he took the initiative. He went and visited all the railway manufacturing plants in England, and he was about to come back and introduce a manufacturing plant in India. But unfortunately, he died on that voyage. So he is buried in London. His grave is in somewhere, I'm forgetting the name of the cemetery, but he is buried in London, and he is basically one of the Renaissance man of the time.
Let's talk about the team then. How big's the team?
Yeah. So right now we have a 5-person team. It's just a very small team. It's me, I'm the CEO, then my wife Chelsea, who is the COO, and then there's Shomadeep, who is the CTO. And then we have Anjana, who runs the social media and campaigning. And then we have Aromo, who is the UI UX person. So whenever we build something, it goes through him.
What would you say is your management style then? Obviously, you started with a PhD in archaeology, then you're now doing marketing and hiring and firing and things like that.
It took a lot of learning, but I would say that the one word that comes to my mind is empathy. Is true for how I manage the team and also how the company culture works. So that is the core value of the company. The empathy to everyone, the team members, the community members, the partners, the customers. So, and we also have a trust-based culture rather than a low trust culture, because in a lot of Indian businesses, I see there's a lot of toxicity that goes on because of the low trust and nature approach, and that's how the society has been in many places in India. But we basically have inculcated a high trust sort of work culture here.
What's your sort of hiring philosophy? Obviously, you're a small team. Do you have like a specific philosophy? Are you looking for people who are sort of people who know their a niche knowledge, or people who've got broader based knowledge?
Basically, it depends on what we are hiring for. But overall philosophy is that they need to understand that we're working in a fast growing startup, but they don't need to overwork themselves. Like they can have they finish what is assigned to them. That's it. They can then take rest. And we don't generally call people after the work hours. We don't generally expect everyone to work 24/7. I work a lot, like 14, 15 hours a day. My wife works 14, 15 hours a day, but I don't want to expect others to work like that. I think it's about being honest, being empathic, and do finishing the work that you are assigned to, and then you can do whatever you want. So we don't care.
What's it like working with your wife then?
Well, she is the boss.
Okay.
In terms of managing the team. And I think we work pretty well in terms of the vision, because we both started it together, had the same vision. She's an anthropologist, I'm an archaeologist, so we have similar backgrounds. Yeah, I mean it's been very good so far.
Does she like India? She must enjoy doing the trails herself.
She has been here for 12 years, last 12 years, and she speaks the language,
nice.
like Bengali. She likes India better than the US, where she's from originally.
Let's go back to startups then. Most startups do fail, pretty much 9 out of 10, but you're still going. Why do you think those startups have failed, and why do you think you're still going?
I think if you expect to succeed immediately, then probably that's a wrong expectation to have. You have to be resilient. You have to constantly keep on knocking the doors, and one day, surely enough, the doors will open. But it takes time. For making money takes time, and you just have to keep going at it. Also, I think a lot of startups make the mistake of splurging once they raise funds. Splurging is a big problem, and that we are very conscious about not doing. Like, for example, we work from a virtual office. We work from mostly home. Our team is small. We don't want to have a fancy office at any point any soon, even if we raise funds. So I think we need to control expectations of what we expect from the business. Success is not immediate, and we have to keep on going, going and going at it, and keep knocking the right doors, and also control how you spend the money that you have. Time. Otherwise, there will be ebbs and flows. But during those ebbs, you need to be very conscious about what you are doing with the money and time.
Yeah, cool. And you mentioned raising finance. Have you got any advice for our people who are watching or people who are listening in terms of pitching, how to pitch?
So basically, from what my experience has been, is to be really upfront and honest about your whatever is in your pitch. Don't overpromise and then underdeliver. Because that like in due diligence, that would get seen through. So you need to always, I would say, underpromise and then overdeliver to the investors. And also just being honest and sympathetic to the questions of the investors, because often the investors will ask questions about how they will get the return. And if we get annoyed by that, like a lot of people get annoyed by that, because they think that they're asking for the return immediately, but that's not what they're asking. They're asking for if and when, what is your plan with, how would you grow with their money and grow their money? And that's a valid point. They're investing the money not as charity. So you need to be very conscious about that fact as well, and take feedback well. Don't get annoyed.
Don't get annoyed. Will this business look like in, say, 5 years' time then?
I would think that we would be the biggest experiences tech marketplace in India. We are already doing so in Eastern India. We are gradually growing in South and West of India. And then North India is our last destination, like last sort of place that we want to go at the end. But in 5 years, we want to be the go-to marketplace to book experiences in India whenever someone comes to visit or someone travels within the country.
In terms of, what are your thoughts on AI then? People seem to be using it left, right, and center.
We are leveraging AI, but not to generate itineraries. I don't think that works, because they're like every person's opinion and demands and expectations out of a tour is different. So AI can do generic stuff so far. It cannot give you a very curated itinerary. So what we do, how the way are using AI is we have launched an AI model called Pothik. That model is to help people to discover the right tour for them on our website. So we are training it so that it understands customer behavior, and it can understand based on their questions what exactly they're looking for, rather than build an itinerary for them. And we will keep on doing that. And also in terms of the back end of things, about 30% of our code is written by AI. That helps in going to market faster.
Customers then, are they sort of slightly older people, or are they families? Is it a broad range of customers that you're getting?
So I would say in terms of the age, it's mostly millennials at this point, people who love to travel and people who love to travel and learn and give back something to the local communities. So conscious travelers. It's a niche, but it's a growing niche in India.
Last few questions then. What excites you most about what you're doing?
I'm excited about a lot of things. What excites me most is really bringing all of these niche sort of small curators from all over India under one umbrella and make them visible and grow their business as well as we grow ours, when we grow ours, and also helping people to actually find them where they were unfindable before. So that's the exciting part, I would say.
I'm not sure I've asked you this before. What's your favorite holiday destination or trail?
My favorite trail would be going to, say, in Rajasthan on a camel caravan trip. But that is I don't have the time, but I would like to go with our partners. We have partners there who does this ethically, because we have a very strong animal welfare policy as well. So yeah, I mean, that would be one of those things that I would love to do.
And what advice would you give to our first-time founders? Should they be focusing on?
I think the first-time founders, the main thing is fear. That's what I felt, and a lot of discouragement around me, around themselves. So they should be acknowledging that, but they should still keep on going and keep building doing what they do best. Because if you take a lot of advice, there will be a lot of negatives around you. Even your self-talk will be negative sometimes. But if you keep at it, keep building what you're building, and if you're convinced, then I think you will get there one day.
If you started this business today, would you change anything?
If I started it today, I would definitely have met Shomodeep, who is the tech person, and having on the co-founding team immediately. Because when we founded in 2017, the walking tour company, the reason that it did not grow beyond Calcutta is because our tech was slow, because there was no tech that we were building in-house. But now we build tech in-house, and I think that would be something that would change.
Last question for people who want to know about you and Immersive Trails. What must they do?
Oh, they should go to immersivetrails.com, then see what we have on offer in India. To know about me, well, just go and Google me, I would say, or connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search my name and connect with me. One thing that I would like to add is that I am building this company with the help of my team with something that I have a debilitating sort of, I would not say disease, but mental health issue called DID. Dissociative Identity Disorder. So I would like to acknowledge that there can be founders with disabilities who can also build despite of that. So I want that message to be out there as well.
How does that sort of manifest itself? How does that affect you? Is it on a day-to-day basis? I have no idea what that is.
It does manifest on a day-to-day basis, especially in terms of when there is a huge work pressure. It comes on the surface, but I can manage it now. I've learned to manage it over the years. And I mean, if you do some research on DID, you will know what it is. And my team helps me always. My wife, my team helps me to manage that. But I just wanted to throw it out there because I think founders with disabilities or disabilities that are invisible from outside, invisible disabilities often feel very lonely. It's a lonely space. So if anyone wants to connect with me and talk about it, I'm happy to support them as well.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. Tintin, thank you for coming on the Indian Startup Show today. Really, really enjoyed it.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me once again, and have a great day.